This is my space. I'm the director of Ballet Aligned. And when I got this space, I was like, okay, I'm just going to find these professional instructors for my kids to teach them the stuff that I think is important. And we found amazing teachers. So I asked my daughter today, kind of compare and contrast for me some of your experience in co-ops versus the Cash Learning Center. What would you say is the difference? And she said the main thing, in fact, I have a video that she recorded that she wants you to see. She's done ASL with Ariel. She was like, the teachers are just amazing. So the Cash Learning Center finds and employs the very best teachers. So they either have a professional background in teaching or a professional background in their field, or ideally both. And that makes a huge difference when it comes to like the passion and the energy and the engagement of the kids in the class. And the other thing that she talked about is she said that it was really rigorous. Like she said that she felt like sometimes in a co-op setting, it's like, you know, a series of people or maybe one person just giving you really good information, you know, like day after day, and nothing really builds. And she felt like at least the classes that she took last year, she was in Christina's, well, I say she. I had two girls in some of these classes, the other ones at camp, so I couldn't ask her opinion. But anyway, they just felt like they were like gaining a skill set and like, you know, stacking. So I have loved that about their experience. The other thing I asked her was like, she does both. I have a daughter just going into high school that will do high school part-time, and my other daughter who I was visiting about, she does speech and debate and theater at Logan High. And I asked her about like prep for high school, and she said definitely, like just because of the background of the teachers and their expectations and how they structure class, she felt like it was really geared towards high school prep. Now these are the teens that I've been talking to, like the teens in my family. And the teen day at the Cash Learning Center is on Tuesdays. Whoop. It's from about 9:30 to 2:30 if you do the whole thing. But you can do one class, you can do 3 classes, there's going to be a total of 5 hours, I think, assuming we can fill them. And yeah, so the kids can be there for a really long time, or they can just come and then go. So Teen Day, that's 12 and up, is Tuesdays. And then the younger kid day, I need to figure out a name. Anyone have any suggestions for younger kid? I'm like youth, but youth can sometimes mean teen. Anyway, like age 6 to 12. None of the cutoffs on age are like super hard. You might have somebody like, oh, I've got an 11-year-old that really, really wants this class. And then it's just, you know, like, hey, if they can keep up and not be distracting because their attention span isn't sufficient, then bring them along. Or my older kid wants to, you know, do this younger kid class, and that's fine too. A difference, so all of our classes cost about $10 a class, and the nice thing about that versus a co-op structure as well is that because families, I think it's like 80% of our student body we've served. This last year we served about 85 families our first semester, and then our second semester dropped down to about 65, I think. So it's a good number of kiddos in the classes. But what was I saying? I don't remember. Oh, about 85% are they are either with My Tech High or Harmony, and those classes are, and so both programs reimburse for our classes. I don't know how it works with Options Day. I feel like if you do Options Day, then that like diminishes what you can do, and so it's harder to get into other classes. Does anyone know about that?
What are you asking specifically?
Like if you do, okay, perfect. So you can do both.
Yeah.
Does it take your funding?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Options Day is $700 for the full year, full day. And then we just
chose into the right.
Chose Options Day, and then when we did, because my daughter did ASL, we just submitted a third-party submission, and they cut me a check, paid directly to her, mailed it to me, and I brought it.
Yep.
To her.
Okay.
So you can do both. You don't have to claim. I didn't have to claim with Harmony that we did ASL, but I did with Options Day.
Yeah.
because that was their elective.
Okay.
Here.
Okay. Okay.
But we can do whatever else outside of that. You don't have to claim it, but if they're a third
But
party,
if you want the reimbursement, yeah, which is really nice. So on the back or front or however you want to hold it, I've got some of the classes that I'm trying to put together this year. Anything that's asterisked, I have a teacher lined up for that, and I want to tell you about some of them. For improv, we have, her name's McKenna Finley. She performs as part of the Cache Valley Antics group. She's gone through the process, graduated. Her degree is in, I think it's like in theater education or something, and she performs improv, and she's great, and I'm really excited. Photography, I can't remember her name, but she's a professional photographer, and she's got like 20 years of teaching at a high school and college level for photography. Videography, it's a gentleman who's, again, I think his major is in, I think it's theater ed, but he has all this experience like producing videos. Dance will be one of the ballet aligned teachers. Opera by children, I'm hoping that I have someone, she graduated in vocal performance, and she's a member of the homeschooling community, and that program is really closely tied to the Utah Festival Opera. So that one's really exciting. And then I'm kind of waiting to hear back from teachers. They're smiling at me. Another thing, so one of the downsides, I'll just be really upfront about Cache Learning Center. This is all of the space that I have, and so if we have 2 classes, that means that there isn't a place for kids to go if they have like a down hour. And because I don't have a way to like supervise kids or a safe way to have them be in this building, the insurance covers them when they're in class, but it doesn't cover them when they're not. That's been a hard thing. So if you've had a down hour, you've needed to leave. I'm trying to implement an idea that we had, which was to start clubs. So like if you have a down hour and you're registered for a class here and a class there, and you have some blank time, to participate in a club. And we have all sorts of fun ideas. So far, I only have someone to lead the Lego club, but that will just be Lego building. And that will be if you're enrolled in a class, that club time will be free, and your kids can just socialize.
So where would that happen? Both spaces?
So it wouldn't. In other words, we'd have one class and one club, or one club and one class and one club. Does that make sense?
Oh, I see. So you would just have one class per hour, and then
yeah, and a lot of that is just dependent on. So it's in our registration process. There's a $20 like membership fee. That membership fee covers the insurance. The insurance is expensive and it's gone up, but I'm paying that because it will allow me to do more things and not ask our teachers to get insured. So once you've paid the membership fee, that means you get a first heads up on when the class is open. What have we capped them at? Like I think choir has had like a lot of kids. We have that big room next door. Otherwise it's like, what, like 20? Yeah. Something like that. We haven't, I've never seen anything like so packed that you're like, oh my gosh, that's a sweaty mess. And so, yeah, but there have been classes that have reached their capacity, and then we have had to turn people away. So members who pay will get a first choice of, whatever classes. So it's that $20 fee, and then when you register for your classes is when the money is due. Some of them will be just single semester classes, and some of them will run for the whole year. What are some other questions?
Sorry. So what day did you say was the younger kids?
Younger kids is Wednesday. Mm-hmm.
And then, so could they potentially eat lunch in that club, or is food?
Yeah, that's probably a potential. Yeah, that was one question that we had. The older kid classes last 55 minutes, and there's a 10-minute break in between. That's because the older kids are less likely to run around and crash into mirrors and put holes in the wall. The younger kid classes last for about 50 minutes, and there's a 5-minute break in between that gives them less time to crash into mirrors and put holes in the wall. Happened. Thankfully not the Cache Learning Center kids. But anyway, So I did have parents asking, like, when will the kids eat? And my thought is, when they're that young, I don't know if anyone, you know, like 9, are they gonna be there and be in all 5 hours? I don't know. There isn't an eating time set aside yet. There may be something as we start plugging in classes and times and just kind of see what that. Yeah, you can eat. Yeah, you can eat in the studios. I am really ornery about stuff getting picked up. I don't like to pick up after people, because yeah, I don't want to have to pay for that and pass that cost on to everybody. So yeah. Any other questions about Cash Learning Center? It's the amazing thing really has been the teachers. They've been amazing. They're
When do you think
top notch.
schedule finalized?
So that is a really great question. I am hoping for sometime in July. We're also trying to implement a new registration process. Last year we had everyone communicating with every teacher, and all the parents were asking me questions, and that was not fun because the parents had to keep track of all of the teachers' contact info, and I kept having to say, I don't know. So we're changing things up a little bit. Hopefully the registration process will be really simplified. I'm hoping to hire someone to handle some of that registration stuff, and so we'll have somebody that can answer all the questions unless they're like class content specific. So I hope that will kind of streamline things. The other thing that the Cash Learning Center is trying to do is we're trying to do like 2 field trips a year, 2 parties a year, and 2 learning experiences and or service opportunities. So last year we did the leadership club did a really fun Greek themed party with like people dressed up as Greek gods and food and games, and it was awesome. Then we also did we did a service project at the zoo, and the zoo, yes, was it here or there? It was there. The kids got to like do one of the hands-on animal encounter educational experiences, and then they did some service. So we're trying to do stuff like that once a semester. So.
And it's $300 per class.
For the full year, yep. The nice thing, and I base this on just my personal preferences, I think some people homeschool because they like the additional freedom and flexibility in their schedule. Classes don't start till September. They're over by May 1st, and you have like a whole month break in December. Plus you have a week for fall break, and you have a week for spring break, and so it's pretty family, alternative vacation schedule friendly. And that was important to me because not that we vacation, but I like the idea of being able to if we did. That's, yeah. Are we good? Okay.
We do have a lot of youth mentors this year. In the past, we have had youth mentors, but not quite as many. We're kind of changing a little bit the direction that we're going to more of a leadership style co-op. As I've gotten to know a lot of the older youth this last year, one of the things that most of them talk about are a lack of good options for them as they advance in their education. It gets to a point where they feel like they either need to go to Utah State, they need to go to Bridgerland, or they need to do online classes. And for some of them, these just, as they've been wild and free homeschoolers, it's not their favorite option as they're trying to build their life and finish their education. And so we talked about the possibility of learning through teaching. As homeschoolers, we all know that we learn the most when we're trying to teach a subject. And so we have a lot of youth mentors this year. Each youth mentor is automatically enrolled in my leadership class, which basically means that I help them put together their class. I help them with their lessons if they need it. I periodically will attend classes with them, and then we'll discuss what's going well, what's maybe not going well, what they're struggling with, as well as providing supervision so that they can have these opportunities to give back to the community, to help their peers, and to further their educations in maybe a way that is more along the lines of what they're interested in. The other thing that we're adding this year is a social calendar, and our director is not able to be here this evening because she's putting on a dance tomorrow. So please come, or not you guys, but your children. No offense. So she is going to put together a panel of youth who would like to be part of planning social activities for the youth, the homeschool youth of Cache Valley. This part is not specific just to the Cincinnatus Learning Hub. This is anyone who would like to come. So they will be putting on dances, service projects, special speakers, whatever it is that the youth are interested in having, they're going to do that. They're shooting for once a month. If there's a lot of interest, then they would like to do twice a month. So that will just be kind of exciting for them to do. And once again, really, as I stepped into the role of director, as our last director retired, I've had a lot of moms approach and ask if their child would be able to come to our co-op for whatever reasons. They have had experiences where they felt excluded or unwanted. Growing up as a homeschooler myself in Cache Valley, I did not feel excluded by other homeschoolers. I only felt excluded by the public schoolers. So it made me want to cry that some people don't feel part of the homeschool community. And I feel like we really need to band together. It's so important. I love that so many people are here from different co-ops together, because I think it's important that we band together to give the best education we can to our children. So in that spirit, our co-op is for everyone, regardless of religion or age, or if you're a public schooler or a homeschooler or whatever it is, whatever kind of homeschooling you do, sexual orientation, I mean, anything, everyone is welcome and wanted, and it just needs to be a safe place for everyone. So we are trying to just make sure everybody feels included. So anyway, that's our co-op. Anybody have any questions? Yes?
So what are your prices?
That one kind of depends. Each class is a different price. So part of that is because it depends on the materials that the teachers need for their class, as well as like building rental. So the creative writing class, they will not be using anything other than the room. So that one is $13 a semester. The cooking class is $135 for the semester, because it does include all the materials throughout the semester, as well as the final dinner. So I do have prices on everything if anybody would like to. Does anybody want to know? Yes?
Where can we find this information after tonight?
Great. Okay, so we are on Facebook. I think if you type in Cincinnatus Learning Hub, you'll find our Facebook group. I have been putting posts up on Cache Valley Homeschoolers Facebook page as well. So our classes are being announced there. And then you register by emailing cachelearninghub@gmail.com. So all of the classes are listed on that group, as well as the times, who they're mentored by, and the cost, and the age range. Most of them are 12 and up, some of them are 10 and up, 11, but most of them are 12, so. Yes?
You don't offer anything for the younger kids?
So beginning guitar is open for younger, and let me think, hang on. Okay, right, choir, beginning guitar, and music therapy are all younger, not really, really young, but if they want to learn guitar or we want to enroll them in music therapy, then yes, they are for younger children.
One of the classes that she's offering, or that's in the Cincinnatus group, is Shakespeare Conquest. So I brought this flyer. So this is a full year class, and you're welcome to take one if you'd like. It's going to be a deep dive into Shakespeare. The first semester, and then the second semester is acting training, and it ends with a final project of doing a play, a Shakespeare play. We'll edit it a little bit, so it's definitely down at an hour and a half. Some Shakespeare plays, if you do the full thing, are 2 hours or more. So we'll take out a little bit, but yeah, it's like the actual words. So the only thing that's required of the students in this class is to read the act. There's like an act assigned each week or a few scenes for the one that we're studying in the fall. And then the play we're going to perform in the spring, we'll read that together and discuss it, so we make sure we understand what the play is about. And then everything else about the class is the student gets to opt in. So there's a big challenge at the beginning that encourages them to read, watch, or listen to 17 plays in order to move from peasant level to king. And that's completely their choice if they want to participate in that. And then there's prizes for bonus questions, and there's some writing assignments so they can practice writing if they want to, but it's not required. And then there's the 10 steps of the class, which over the course of the year they do the various things of the class, reading the play that we have, participating in the final project, doing 7, not 17 plays throughout the course of the year. And if they reach the 10 steps, then we'll have a prize. And there's a parent fair where we put on a medieval feast as parents for the kids. So that's what this class is about. It's going to be at Cincinnatus, it's going to be at the Whittier on the Tuesdays that Cincinnatus is held, and we're going to do it from 1:30 to 3:30. So it's a 2-hour class, and it'll start in September and end with the play in May, about May. So if you'd like information on this, you're welcome to take one of these. I printed 10. There's more than 10 of you, so we might have to take a picture of the flyer, or I can email it to you later or whatever. Okay, so who's next? Oh, Elaine is going to talk about the choir. Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so also between 1:30 and 3:30 at Cincinnatus is Joyful Voices choirs, and Montana DeLeo and I will be directing / accompanying. Mostly I'll be directing and she'll be accompanying, and sometimes we'll switch. But we are just thrilled to do this. One thing that I loved as a public school child, I think my fondest memories of school were either music class and singing the whole class together, or my 5th and 6th grade teacher that played the guitar and just would say, all right, you guys sit down and we're going to just jam, and we would. And those are the most joyful memories that I have. And when my kids were in public school and we were exiting the last day and going, we're done here, I'm not going to miss this, we're not going to miss that, or that, but we are going to miss these 2 things. And it was, number 1, the sense of community. And we were Heritage Huskies, and now we're not. So what are we? But we feel like we have found community here in Cache Valley, and that has been a huge blessing to us. And now finally, I'm bringing music, to the joy of music. I'm going to try, and we're going to embark on it. So sign your kids up for choir. There's a youth choir. We're calling it children's choir from 1:30 to 2:30. And then youth choir from 2:30 to 3:20 to 2:20, and then just 3:20, because there's a 10-minute break in between classes there at Cincinnatus. And what else? $70 per child per semester. And if you have multiples, 2 or more, then it's 75, and then 70 if you have per child, if you have more than one that would like to join. That will pay for use of the building, use of the music that we need to buy, and we are planning on having a whole little packet, a booklet to hand to each child that they will, it's not just going to be singing in choir, it's going to be a little bit of theory lesson each week, and with a little bit of homework, like 10 minutes that they can practice at home or more if they want, with hopefully some more resources in the packet. So kind of a general music focusing on using our voices, and the main focus is just bringing joy. And I have a passion that I have discovered late in my life, or rediscovered, and it is the power of music and the power to find joy through it and fill through our hearts up to our minds, the joy of life through music and learning that especially. So I think there was something else. Oh, no auditions necessary. That was one thing that Montana and I wanted from the get-go, is all voices, all children, all skill levels are welcome, which that may present a little bit of a challenge because some children may come with many more skills than others in the music, and so we'll just ask them to help us, teach and etc. But I think we'll manage. So, thank you. Any other questions though? Oh, okay. So for thank you for the children's choir. We are encouraging, but it's very fluid, ages 7-ish to 11-ish, and then youth will be 12-ish to however we can get them at that age, and we know we'll probably have more girls than boys, and that's going to be just fine. But if you have boys that might be interested, try to push them along or give them a nudge, like we say. So, any other questions?
What time did you say was the younger class?
Younger is 1:30 to 2:20 on Tuesdays, and at the Whittier Center. And the olders is that 2:30 to 3:20. And then we'll plan on a performance December-ish, maybe November, just to make it less complicated, but we'll see. And then one in the spring, of course, and then we're kind of tentatively hoping to do things like go sing at a rest home on a weeknight or a Saturday, or little performances like that, just for fun. So.
This is an overall Cincinnatus. Is there a registration fee?
Okay. For Cincinnatus?
For Cincinnatus, and then the class fees, or it's just the class fee and that's it? Yeah, just the class fee.
Each class is different, and so when we've got our information listed under the class information for Cincinnatus, we chose this year to just have the choir be signed up through our own website, which is, I'll put it up here, joyfulvoices.my.canva.site. Isn't that cool? So, and so register there for our class. And I think as things go, we might switch to the way everybody else does it at Cincinnatus. We'll see how we do this year. We're pioneering. So, any others? Thank you.
I tend to move when I talk, so I'm going to have to remember to stand still. So I am Christina McDowell, and I am launching the Cache Valley Forest School. And so we are an outdoor place-based education that is specific for science. So that's what we offer, is outdoor science classes. So a little bit about me. I have a background as a home educator. I home educated my kids for about 10 years, and I have another little one that I'm waiting for her to get old enough to home educate. And then I'm also a professional educator in science and career and technical education. And so the Cache Valley Forest School is a K through 12 program. And we are broken up into 3 age groups. So we have classes that will be for like 5 to 8-year-olds, 8 to 12, and then 12 and up. And We're broken up into 4 quarters throughout the year. We have a lot of flexibility with our schedule so basically like each quarter is going to be 6 weeks, and each of those quarters is going to have a theme. And then we have breaks in between each quarter, as well as like spring break, fall break, and we actually have 7 weeks off through the winter, mid-December to February. So that's our schedule. So our classes, I hope, are going to be really fun. So I am trained in project-based education, and so my passion really is to bring hands-on education to students and to Cache Valley. And so our first quarter is called Mountain Adventure, and that is going to be our life science unit, and we're going to be focused on all things to do with life science, such as animals and plants and ecosystems and organisms, and how all of those things interact together. The second quarter is, what is it? Second quarter is Storm Chasers, and that's going to be all focused on studying the weather. We're going to become meteorologists, and we are going to learn about atmospheric pressure and all of that. And of course, all of this is at age-appropriate levels. So obviously, our K through second graders are going to get it at a level they understand. And then I personally will be teaching the teenagers, and we will be diving in. And one of the things about my courses is that I really want the kids to have fun, but I want them to feel like they're having like quality academics. So I want you to feel like this is a science class, that your kids are truly getting like their science content for the year in these classes. The third quarter this one's going to be really fun. This one is going to be the science of survival, and it's going to be our physics unit. So we're going to talk about like how can we use physics to survive. If we are dropped off in Cache Valley in the middle of winter, how are we going to survive this? So we're going to talk about like reflection and heat retention and heat generation and creating small machines and creating structures and shelters and things like that. One thing I should tell you about Forest School is classes are 100% outdoors. And so that means we operate in all weather. We dress for the weather. And so that'll be kind of a fun one to do in the middle of winter. We do cancel for extreme weather or anything that's dangerous, but for the most part, we operate year-round outdoors. And then our last quarter is called Wonderful Watersheds, and we are going to be studying the watersheds of Cache Valley, and the kids have a chance to become basically ecologists. They're going to take water samples, they're going to study the insects that are at the water's edge, they're going to learn how to look at the environment around them to study the health and quality of the water. So like I said, those will be broken up into 3 age groups, and obviously our littlest kids are going to be learning some of the most basic foundations of those skills, whereas our teenagers are really going to dive deep into these topics. And my big philosophy with education is that everything being taught should be something that is utilized in real life. I don't want them to be taught something and they have no idea how to apply it into their real life. And so I want them to walk away with real life skills applications. I realize not everybody's going to grow up and be a scientist, but I want them to at least have those skills and have that exposure to that. I have hired some fantastic teachers. I'm so excited. My youngest teacher, not my youngest teacher, but for the youngest group, her name is Rachel. She has a master's in education, and she has personally been teaching Forest School. She runs her own Forest School for preschoolers, and so she's really excited to join us with the K through second grade. And then I have Alex will be our 3rd through 5th grade teacher, and he has spent the last 10 years as a director at Common Grounds. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but they operate outdoor education in an adaptive style for people with disabilities. And so he has an extensive background and bachelor's in outdoor recreation and outdoor management. And then there's me, and I'll have the teenagers, and I love working with teenagers. That's kind of my jam, that I just love connecting with them. So my pricing is $360. That'll cover your entire year, all your content. We meet 24 weeks throughout the year, and that is for 2 hours each time that we meet. There is a registration fee to cover our insurance. Insurance is really high, especially in outdoor education. So there is a registration fee of $40. And I currently am actually at full capacity for my K through 5th grade classes for the first quarter. I have 3 openings for my K through 2 and 4 openings for my 3 through 5 for quarters 2, 3, and 4. I am trying to fill those openings now, so if you are interested in that, it would be something you would want to register now and not wait till the second semester. My teenage class is just over 50% capacity. I'm really hoping to market and get more teenagers involved in this, because that really is where my passion is with the older kids. And so I do have openings right now for the teenagers to start in September. What questions do you have?
What day?
Oh, sorry, it's Friday at 12:45 to 2:45. And we are tentatively meeting at Green Canyon. I'm still working on the permitting with the Forest Service. So fingers crossed, that's where we're going. If the permitting doesn't work out, I have a few other spots available, and it will be Logan, North Logan area.
I was going to ask, what kind of outside work during the week will there be for the older kids?
Yeah, good question. So as far as work outside of the Friday class for K through 5, that's not a requirement. I want them to be able to just go home and have fun. With the older kids, I'm going to be minimal on, I guess what I'm saying is I don't entirely know at this time, but it will be minimal. I know that there will be some, just for the fact that we don't have the internet, we don't have like the ability to research things right in front of us. So it could be like, so as I create my projects, what I like to do is a project-based approach where the kids have a question or a problem that they're trying to solve, or that they're trying to research themselves. So essentially, the answer to that problem could be different depending on the student and how their research goes. And so there is definitely, for the older kids, going to be the need to go home and do research. Beyond that, the work will take place in class. So some, but I'm not entirely sure how to answer that just yet. Yes?
When you say teens, is that the 12 plus?
Yeah, yeah.
So all age groups are in that 2 hours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're all meeting at the same time for 2 reasons. One, safety reasons, and then also just convenience for parents. I just want parents to be able to drop them all off and pick them all back up. So, yeah.
When does it first start?
So September 8th, I think that's a Friday, if you look at your calendars, is my first day of class. But September 1st, we are going to have a family event. And so the family events are not required. You're not paying for the family events. Those are just open to all homeschoolers, even if you're not part of the school. It might just be a hike, or maybe it's a cookout. Haven't really planned them yet. So at the end of every quarter, there will be a family event. And that's not drop off. The other classes are drop off. The family events are for everybody to come, but I'm not watching your children at that time.
So do you register per semester, or like how did it happen that only your first semester is full and yours are not?
Yeah.
Or like, is it like?
So it was kind of probably a mistake on my part that I offered the option of registering per quarter. And what I got was like 95% of people registered for the entire year. And then I had a few stragglers that only registered for a quarter. And then I was like, okay, I messed myself up. And so now I'm like, okay, now I have these openings I have to try and fill. So if you were to register for that K through 5 second, third, fourth quarters, then classes would start November 3rd. It's a Friday, so I think it's November 3rd.
And then would you adjust the price?
Yeah, yep, so the price is adjusted, yeah. And so the price would be $315. Essentially what I did with my pricing is it was more cost effective to sign up for the whole year versus like essentially you'd pay more if you only signed up for a quarter. And so if you're there for 3 quarters, then the cost is $315. And I am doing an early bird pricing, so my pricing is going to go up $35 after August 1st. So, yes,
So if your kids are in the age ranges that are full, do you have a wait list?
I do. Yeah, I'm starting a wait list. Yeah, I'm starting a wait list, and so you're welcome to go on and register even though it's full, and I'll just put you on the wait list. You know, there's always, like, I've had some kids who have enrolled and then come to me and said, actually, my child's going to public school. So then I've had to pull them out. So it does happen.
Did you already say the Facebook group page? Or is that
So I have a website. It's cashvalleyforestschool.com. And I also have a Facebook page too. It's the same thing. Cache Valley Forest School. Anything else? Okay, thank you.
Hi everybody, YLA Logan. You may have seen this or heard about us or something, I don't know. But I didn't bring my big banner, so I thought I'd better show you that. I'm Elizabeth Anderson, or Beth Anderson. Here's Ersta Acerton. You've probably seen her name. You say it Ersta. It's very cute and classy. And here's Joshua. He's on our student council, and he's also my son, so he had to put up with being here this whole time. And I'm really grateful. Thanks for being here, Josh. We at YLA, so YLA, it stands for Youth Leaders for America. And we are, there's quite a few Youth Leaders for America, or YLA, communities in Utah. And so we are just duplicating that because it's worked in other places, and we saw a need, see a need, fill a need. And don't you just love this homeschool community, because everybody is doing that. And that's one thing that we talked about in our last meeting, like what a blessing it is to see all this, you know, all these ideas popping this past year in Cache Valley. I turned up in Cache Valley in 2020, and so did Ersta, and probably quite a few of you like have moved in, and it's a, you know, it was a bit of a quiet time trying to make connections and find people, and especially if you're homeschooling as well. But it's really come alive, and it's an exciting thing. So YLA, Youth Leaders for America, it's a community especially for youth. And that's something that I've noticed in my homeschooling experience. You know, people are saying what their professional backgrounds are in. And so I have a Bachelor of Nursing. So as a registered nurse, I wasn't having children, and children were my favorite. So I thought, okay, I'm going to learn how to be a teacher as well. And so while I was had finished my nursing degree, I went and did a teaching degree as well. So and then I got a Bachelor of Education in elementary teaching, which in Australia that goes up to grade 10, and then I got to have kids. Go figure. And so my first son was born like the month after I graduated, and then and I had wanted to homeschool ever since I was a teenager. Homeschooling was something I hadn't seen, but I just knew inside myself that it would be a beautiful way to raise a family. So I love homeschooling, and have always, you know, I haven't been the best at it, but I've got 3 adult children who've survived, and one's graduated and is being a town planner down in Lyndon, and another one is doing social work and psychology up at BYU, Idaho, and another one, he was getting into the animal sciences, but he's out serving a 2-year mission at the moment. And I'm just really grateful for the homeschool journey we've been on. My eldest was very unwell through vaccine injuries, actually, from a 4-year-old to probably 16. I think 16 is when he stopped having daily seizures. And so really a lot of our homeschool journey was keeping him alive for a good chunk of that time. And he would have 30 seizures every day. And I just don't know how we would have handled it if we didn't band together as a family and homeschool. And homeschooling is actually what brought us over to this country too. I had my daughter was, my two eldest actually were doing Lemmy classes online. Andrea maybe mentioned Lemmy classes. I had a daughter who was doing online Shakespeare Conquest back in the day when we lived in Australia, and I was, part of different homeschool chats and communities and just keeping my son alive and getting the other kids to have community and be able to go to piano and be able to go to different things. I just thought, I don't have the support group over here. But I knew that I'd be able to find it here in Utah. And I had a few special experiences that helped me to know that it was actually what Heavenly Father wanted for our family to move over here. And I'm so grateful for our husband who, when I said to him, I think we're meant to move to Utah, he said, well, when do we leave? And which is pretty amazing because he's run his business. He had to figure out how to leave a business, and we had to figure out how to do visas. And anyway, that's a whole nother story, and you don't want to know about all that. But I love this community, and what's happening here in Cache Valley is really exciting because it's all to benefit the youth and the families of those who are homeschooling. So YLA, what's a bit different about YLA? It is, it's being built from people who have built commonwealths and co-ops and seen and failed in different ways, or got burnt out and changed things, or had issues happen and set up different policies. And so the policies and procedures, it's interesting as I've been in leadership in a couple of different co-ops down in South Jordan where we lived. And when you read through the YLA policies, if you've been in leadership in a co-op, you'll read them and think, oh yeah, I think I know why that one's there. And I think I know why that one's there. And different things like that, because challenges come up. And it's a lovely thing, as everybody homeschools for different reasons. It's a lovely thing to have a place where you can feel safe with your kids. And YLA, I love it for that. And Youth Leaders for America, so the For America, you can hear my accent's not very American, but I love the Constitution, and I love freedom, and freedom is one of the things that unites the YLA group. It's a community of families who love faith. It's a non-denominational Christian group, so non-denominational Christian families. Freedom, loving and upholding the Constitution, people who believe in that. And families, it's to be a support to families. So YLA is not there to give you a full curriculum or to replace what you're doing in your home. It's there to help bring community for these youth. And as was mentioned before, Stacey mentioned that there's the youth, when you're homeschooling, there comes and I think you were mentioning as well, right, that when they're getting older, they need more. And they don't just need more higher level classes. That's something that they need more of. They also need more mentors, people other than mum and dad, right? They start wanting to hear stuff from other people. They also need more friends. They need more connection. They need more choice as well. And so we're run by volunteers, and although there's a lot of professional teachers as well. Actually, I think most of our teachers are professionals in different areas, but we've got 18 classes. What I wanted to mention also, the youth, it's something that sometimes we expect, you know how our little kids, when they meet each other at the playground, they're 5-year-olds and they'll be besties within 2 minutes. And then they say goodbye and it's all okay. They don't mind. We know I'll find a new best friend tomorrow. It doesn't work that way when you're a youth. It can be a little bit more challenging. And I've seen that because I've moved a few times. And I moved to school as well when I was in high school years. And that can be a bit challenging. So it's really nice if you can provide for the youth a network where they can spend a bit of time trying to get to know each other, and learning together is one great way. Also having youth retreats and different other opportunities is another great way. But I'll pass the time quickly to Joshua to tell us what he thinks. He's been a part of a YLA type community before.
Hello everybody. When I was, so I did a thing before YLA. It was the predecessor. It's called SVLA. When I did that, I was like 13, and I did it mainly because of friends. And I made a lot of friends there. I've still got most of them. Even though we live ages away from each other and don't get to see each other that much, they're like the best friends I've ever had. And I didn't focus that much on academics, which I probably could have and should do more now. But for me, it was mostly just community. And being able to know a ton of people, even if you're not super close to them, it's just nice, I guess. And to be able to learn with those people and do like everything. Yeah, it was awesome.
He did learn some stuff though.
Yeah.
And he did do like Shakespeare things. He's not big into Shakespeare anymore.
I'm just burnt out.
He said he's burnt out on Shakespeare. He's done Shakespeare a couple of times. I think I love Shakespeare more than he did, but he did great. But he also got to do a play with the whole community. And like when you do choirs together and when you do different activities together, it really does help knit you together. And we, in our YLA community, will have things like a mum's retreat and things like that as well. Just things that build community. And what Joshua's mentioning, with the friendships, that's really valuable. And it might sound like it's segregating, saying that it's a non-denominational Christian group that believes in freedom and things like that. But you know what? It becomes like a family. And these other people, the other mums that I've homeschooled with, they're like aunts to my children. And I really trust them with my children. And Joshua mentions that some of those friends are his best friends. Some of their mums are my best friends. And he just spent quite a few days away last week with one of the mums that had, she just sent all these pictures of all these cute kids this age, all sunbaking all together or whatever. Like there was a bit of sun last week, and but just doing different things. And a few of them are all out on missions together, and some of them didn't go on missions, but they're all just in touch with each other. They all love each other, and that's what I've really noticed in this sort of community. So we come together, we learn together. It's a scholar phase kind of a thing, if you're into Thomas Jefferson education, but it's very much more than that. It helps them have stability through when they become young adults as well. So a few of them have headed up to college together and that sort of thing, and they're quite tight-knit, and they're all, one of them got home from a mission and now she's dating somebody else, and now, oh my goodness, the other one who she was, is still on his mission, and we're all a bit worried. But we all just love each other. Which it just reminded me, all of the emotions that are happening kind of reminded me what happened with my brothers and sisters in Australia, when you fall in love with your brother's girlfriend and you think, yeah, marry that one, and then they think, actually I'd like to marry someone else. I think, oh my gosh, I'm not in love with her like I was in love with your other girlfriend. Anyway, that's beside the point. I just wanted to help you see that it becomes like a family kind of a thing, because you're loving together, you're serving together, you're working together, and it becomes a beautiful thing for these youth. So about mentors, we had a Meet the Mentors meeting last week. So we've got 17 classes. We didn't bring all of our mentors here to tell you about their classes, but their classes are going to be great. We've got Erista's husband, he's a chemist. He's going to be teaching a chemistry class. We've got Rex Meyer, he works at the USU in the science department and all that, and he's teaching a coding class. And we have Shelley Zollinger, who's a florist and who's written books about floristry, and who used to work down on Temple Square with all the flowers and everything like that. She's really into, she does a beautiful job, and she's teaching a class about having fun with flowers, and part of that is doing the designs, so you'll have your nice wreaths for Christmas and things like that. And we've got a 3D printing class, a ballroom dancing class, a health and healing in nature botanical science class, sewing class, world of writing for the younger kids. And we've got a few classes that are similar to Lemmy, but slightly different. Ink Art is one of them, and A House Divided Civil War is another one. And we've got yoga and understanding our relationship with food is another one. The Living Sciences System, Science of the Living System, Universal Model 2, and a board game class, and art exploration class, and I wanted to mention Life Hacks for the Fearless Adventurers. That's kind of a fun class where we'll have different mentors from different places teaching life skills like how to change a tire and how to put oil in a car and how to, I don't know, do different things that sometimes you end up going to college and you actually missed that bit on how to do those things. So that'll be a fun one as well as a goal-setting level-up type of class. So that's a bit about YLA and what we're trying to create there. And this is our first year here in Logan, and it's going to be a good year. We're looking forward to it. Did you have anything you wanted to add, Ersta? She'll be able to help me answer questions. Yes.
Where, you may have said this, but where do you guys meet?
So we'll be at the Whittier Center also on Wednesday.
Okay.
So we're Wednesdays at Whittier. So we've got a sign-up fee for $105. That includes registration and the and different family activities and our website and the insurance and that type of thing.
And then the classes.
Then the classes are on top of that.
And they're just all different.
Yeah, so there's classes that are like, the 3D printing is $30, the sewing class is $90, and a lot of those classes you end up taking something away from, right? I know the sewing class has about 3 projects I think that you'll be taking home, and on the higher end is the art exploration is $190, and these are per semester. So the art one, I think there's quite a lot of projects she's wanting to get through. She was a high school art teacher, and she wants to do quite a few things. And so the flower class is a bit more expensive too, because you're going to be taking some different things home too. Yeah.
I'm sorry, what ages?
So it's, well, we do have a track for 11-year-olds, like 11 to 13s. It's usually will probably be just 12 and up, because we want to, there's a lot of things, as you can tell, that cater for the younger ages. We want to kind of cater for the upper end. What we've noticed in co-ops is that if you have the younger people there, because they're like the squeaky wheel, you tend to spend a lot of energy on them. And the older kids end up thinking, what are we even here for? So we're trying to just focus on these older kids and make sure that they have a solid end of their homeschooling experience. Yeah.
What's your website?
It is, I can't even remember how to say it. But
I'm
it's
actually going to write it on the board.
Thank you.
It's a little...
And our website, though, is really awesome. And you other co-ops might be interested, because it's really fun you can have the schedule there, and you click on a class and it drops down with the whole description and everything, and how many are allowed in that class and how many's left, and all of that type of thing. And it's a one-stop shop on communication between mentors and parents, and it'll give you a 1-week email. And I need to figure out why Andrea can't log into it at the moment. But I'll figure that out tonight or tomorrow. So, but if you go to ylacommunities.com, That one's super easy to remember, just ylacommunities.com, and then you scroll down, you'll see the different YLA communities, and you can click on the Logan one and that will go straight to our website. Our website's got backslashes and dashes and stuff. Fun things, and our youth council have chosen for our theme for the year, it's Dr. Zeus, and so our youth retreat's going to be the places you'll go. And we've got flyers for that as well. And we're opening that up to the homeschool community. Anybody who wants to come to that, and we do ropes course and different things. Get to know each other before we end up spending time together more. Thank you.
All right, yes, and another thing to watch. Go watch for, if you're not, doing a co-op, then go. There is a homeschool conference in the Valley, so if that's something that you want to. All right, thank you guys. Thank you for coming. Great information.